Hi, everyone. Today I'm joined by Dr. Jerry Wagner. Jerry is a clinical psychologist, author of 9 Lenses on the World and the Enneagram Spectrum of Personality Styles. He's the creator of Wagner Enneagram Personality Style Scales, or WEPSS, and one of the pioneering voices in the modern Enneagram field. For more than 4 decades, his research, writing, teaching, and clinical work have helped shape the way that Enneagram is understood and applied today. At this year's Enneagram Las Vegas Community Gathering, Jerry will be presenting Enneatyping Out. Jerry, thank you so much for joining us today. Your workshop is called Enneatyping Out. That's certainly a title that makes you stop and think. Tell us about that.
What is he thinking? Well, it's from a series, Wednesday. So Wednesday is the daughter of the Addams family, which is kind of a non-traditional family. And Wednesday is at this school for exceptional children. So she's there with gargoyles, and werewolves and all kinds of interesting adolescents. And her mother also went to that school. So anyway, she's rooming with a really sweet young girl who maybe is 7, I don't know. Don't stereotype. But anyway, she's a werewolf and can't turn into a werewolf. Her fingernails get a little long, and she says, this is all I got. But the other werewolves, when the moon comes out, and the next day they say, well, we wolfed out last night. So I got to thinking, what is it like when you 1 out, or 2 out, or 3 out, or 4 out? It's a great metaphor for the Enneagram. So you've got the moon, you've got these cues, stimuli, and then you react to them and turn into this kind of caricature of yourself. It's kind of a scary monster. The teenagers who are werewolves, if they don't want to turn into a wolf, they can put themselves in a holding pen the night that the full moon comes out. And so then they don't turn into wolves. So I'm thinking, well, what would be the holding pen for each Enneagram type, or how do we keep ourselves from turning into this kind of a caricature of ourselves? And I think easy because it's so automatic. Yeah.
Seen that show, so I'm following everything that you're saying, and I really love your analogy. So when people are under stress or wolfing out, it's easy to assume that we're simply reacting to what's happening around us. So how does the Enneagram help us understand what's actually happening within us instead?
Yeah, that's a good question. And now I got to give you my lecture on cognitive therapy. Albert Ellis, who has this, let's see, cognitive emotional behavioral psychotherapy. Every year he adds a new dimensions so he can get a new book. But the A is the stimulus, antecedent stimulus. That's what you're talking about. What's going on around me? B is processing that stimulus. What do I make of it? How am I interpreting this stimulus? What am I construing about it? So you're making an appraisal. Is this stimulus good or bad for me? Making a prediction. What's going to happen after this stimulus? Or what if I do this? What's going to happen? So all this is kind of going on inside of our giant brains. And that is what leads to the feeling, the emotional C, consequence. So it's not the stimulus, but it's what we do with that stimulus, processing. And then the D is dispute, I say discern. Pay attention to what am I thinking about this thing that's leading to this reaction? And then E is the behavioral expression. If you know the alphabet, you can do cognitive therapy. So the B is the interesting part. That's the belief about it. And the Enneagram kind of makes explicit what's implicit, what's going on in the background. So ones tend to process it this way, twos that way, threes that way, fours that way. I don't do family therapy, but if you're doing family therapy and you got 3 or 4 kids, each one says, well, my parents did this. And you say, were you in the same house I was? Because we literally are processing different. You ask me why, but don't ask me that because I'm not sure how each Enneagram type gets into that processing. But there seems to be a pattern, just like obsessive compulsive people tend to have the same kind of thought process. Depressive people have the same kind of thought process. 6s, 7s, 8s have in their categories kind of similar ways of processing things. It's really quite amazing.
That is amazing. So how might someone recognize that they've started any typing out rather than responding from
Yeah,
their healthiest self?
that's also a very good question. So you have to kind of anticipate. But let me say this: I think it's difficult, and a lot of times it's not until you have wolfed out that you recognize it. Oh God, I just fived out. I just poured out. I just threed out. Because the reaction is so automatic. And if it works, if the defense works, we're not going to be aware of it. It just happens like that to how it's set up. Yeah, I'm talking to somebody who isn't the blind leading the blind. He's an older gentleman. Not that I'm an older gentleman, but if he bumps his head on something, he's just angry. If I fumble something, I just get angry. And then I'd say, what are you doing? So it's only after you've sevened out or eighted out that you recognize it, then you can say, okay, come on back, calm down, come back in. Or if you can head it off at the pass so you can put yourself in a holding pen before you get into that situation. So you're thinking, okay, I'm going to be talking in front of a group. What am I afraid of? For one, you're going to be criticized, two, rejected, that kind of thing. So it is possible to anticipate, okay, I'm going to be with this person who drives me around the bend. How can I react to that person? So it's really kind of the Enneagram helps to be aware of what our triggers are. And then you can kind of say, okay, I'm going to respond in a different way.
Yes, I think that was the key. So, for someone who is considering taking your workshop, what do you hope that they'll leave understanding about themselves that they may not understand today?
Well, now we're going to talk a little bit about triggers, so what's your mood? So with the one, it would be, kind of rejection or being wrong. A two would be, rejection, not being accepted. For three, it's not being admired. It's a little bit different. Or some kind of failure. Oh God. And fours, it's being abandoned. Maybe, oh God, this would be impossible, but seen as being superficial. Fives, being intruded upon, being asked to do something we don't want to do. Oh, I can't do that. Sixes, fear, being inconsistent, other people being inconsistent, being betrayed. So these kind of triggers. Sevens would be any kind of limitation of boredom. You might be getting bored of me right now, but you're still alive. Sevens would say, oh my God, I gotta get out of here. Eights would be weak, told what to do. Don't tell me what to do. Have a good day. Don't tell me what to do. And nines would be any kind of conflict, friction. So that's going to trigger off your response. You're going to be a gargoyle, a Medusa, werewolf, whatever you turn into. So there will be paying attention to that. And the other thing I'm going to ask, we're going to break up into groups. And so we'll get all the twos together and the eights together and the sevens together and talk about these things. But also, what is it like when you wolf out? What's that reaction like? But it's a way, I think, of helping yourself not one out, two out, three out right away. We'll be doing it before we know what happened. Very automatic. If somebody throws something at you, you don't want to think, should I block that with my right hand or with my left hand? No, you just do it right away. So when that threat comes and you make that appraisal, if it's good for me, oh, I go towards it. It's bad for me, I go away from it, or I go against it. Thank you, Karen Horn. But they're meant to be automatic. And so I suppose, be humble. Here I go again. But at least I caught myself before I got a full-blown werewolf attack. So it'd be fine. But the other thing is, I don't know, people take the Enneagram types really, really serious. And maybe playing with it a little bit helps. So instead of, turning into a wolf, well, make friends with the wolf. Play with the wolf. Maybe the wolf can be some help to you. So that part of us that's defensive, it's there for a reason. And if we can kind of temper it a little bit to our advantage and to other people's advantage.
I can see that. Well, this is going to be an incredible workshop. I really love the analogy, and I think we can all relate to the wolfing out. Do
Yes,
people watch Wednesday before your workshop? Is that a bonus?
they don't. It would help. It would help. Yeah,
Is there something about the Enneagram that people tend to overcomplicate when in reality it's much simpler than we think?
that's another good question. So I got to think, okay, so we can either undercomplicate something, undersimplify it. Oh, I have a headache. Or maybe you got a tumor. Check it out. Or you can overcomplicate it. So that's AA. Keep it simple, stupid. Obsessive compulsive is, you're going all over the place. You know, so I think it's a balance. I'm trying to think, well, are we simple? When I think of the biological things that go on inside of us, because we were talking, I had a sore back, and why I did a sore back? 'Cause I don't know, it's inflaming something, so I take a pill that uninflames it. Somehow, over millennia, the body has figured out what to do when there's a germ or something attacking you. It is complicated, honest to God. Our psyches can also be complicated, and we didn't overdo it. Us fives are good at just overthinking things because then we don't have to do anything about it. Well, let me think about this some more. But the Enneagrams, so you got, all right, here's 9 types. Now you got, oh, wait a minute, there's 3 subtypes under each type. Now you got 27. Well, wait a minute. There are 3 subtypes of the subtypes. Now we got 3 times 27. Is it that helpful or not? Maybe yes. Is it so? It's heuristic. Is it useful? Does it help? If it helps, use it. If it doesn't, don't make it overly complicated. Especially if you're, if you're doing a workshop, it would take you 3 years to get all the details out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Jerry, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. If you would like to learn more about Jerry and his workshop, I encourage you to go on our website, www.enneagramlasvegas.com. We hope to see you at the Enneagram Las Vegas Community Gathering happening on September 11th and 12th at the South Point Hotel and Casino. Again, Jerry, thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you then.
I'm looking forward to being there. I've been there a couple of times now, and it's a wonderful group that you
Yes.
have out there. So I'm looking forward to learning some more myself.